Hi, we're Bob and Sarah Bahrs from Kansas City, Kansas. Today we'd like to work with you on intermediate advanced waltz. We're also going to be doing some basic technical footwork and body action at the beginning of the tape so that you can help to improve some of the waltz that you do now, and also it'll help you with the patterns that we'll be showing you. Hi. I'm going to start with some technical points that I feel are very important in waltz. I don't want to spend too much time on them, but most of the requests that I've had from people for my time have been for these technical things, and so I hope you can apply them to all the patterns that we show today and any patterns that you may be doing right now, because I think this will really help you whether you dance socially or competitively, but this will really help for the competitive part of your dancing. And the things I'm going to talk about are rise and fall, and then how to put your body action into the movement to help how far you can go across the floor. The rise and fall is controlled through the feet and your knees, and some people will use the word compression. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a wave type of effect. And so I'm going to demonstrate that now, then I'll explain a little bit more. I'm going to start with the man's footwork across and then come back with the lady's footwork. What the man or the lady are trying to do, like I said, is try and create a wave thing. You're going to commence to rise at the end of your first step, continue to rise into your second step, continue to rise into your third step, and lower at the end of the third step. To create that, you want to use your footwork. So as I start on one, I'm going to get a heel ball action of the foot on one. The second step's going to come through on the ball of the foot. The third step's going to come through. I'm still rising, and I want to lower at the end of my third step, creating the compression. Now from here, I'm going to repeat that into the 4, 5, 6. So I'm getting a heel ball into the step of 1, ball into the step of 2, ball flat into the step of 3, and that would be 4, 5, 6 of the man's footwork. Going back, doing the lady's footwork, I'm actually doing exactly the same thing, but I'm going to start on the one with the right foot. And I'm doing heel ball, ball, ball flat, heel ball, ball, ball flat. That footwork you can apply throughout all the steps that you do when you're going forward, and it'll create the wave effect. When you're going backwards, if you're just walking straight backwards, you're going to create the rise and fall with your body. You're not going to create it with your feet when you walk straight backwards. Because what's going to happen when you walk straight backwards, as lady or as man, you're going to allow the feet to release. And if I'm not trying to create a body rise, I'm not going to get any rise and fall, because you can't really rise through your feet. What that's going to look like is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could create more distance that way. If you're doing steps that spiral and turn as you move, then you can use the exact same footwork going backwards, because you're moving a little bit to the side each way. So that's with the backward footwork. Now I want to talk about how to use your body as you go through it. And this is, some people call it contra body movement. Other people may call it something different. I use the word contra body movement. And what I'm trying to do is move my hip, my rib cage, and my shoulder in opposition to the moving leg. Not so much so that my foot crosses over, but just enough that I create momentum when I walk forward. Once I've created this body swing here, and I'm doing that on my first step, and say I'm using the lady's footwork, 1, then it allows me then for my leg to swing through onto my second step. That looks like from the side, so I'm swinging the body through on 1, foot swings through on 2, and then I just allow my third step to float on through. And when you combine that with the rise and fall of the footwork, 1, 2, 3. You can get a lot more distance. It looks softer and it looks smoother. And it's something that you do when you normally walk, You're just building it up more. The other thing that's happening in there is as I step on one, I don't want that step to be a really hard driving step. I want to take it easy. It's still going to be a long step because the body swing is going to propel you forward. But if you drive your foot forward really hard, it's going to drive your body back. Then you're back weighted, you can't get forward onto the next step. So what you're going to try and create here is an easy step with the leg, the body moving forward towards the leg, and then allowing the second step, the leg swing, to come through right away. So I'm getting that 1, 2, 3. Create the distance to go through. Okay. Now I'd like to show you how to put some of the basic footwork and body action into some turning action in waltz. Of course, because turning is very important in waltz, and the patterns that we'll be showing you will be using a lot of turns. And these turns that I'm going to show you right now are a big part of that. The footwork is the same. You're going to still do the heel ball on 1, ball on 2, ball lower on 3, on the 1, 2, 3. You're still going to be using the body action as you turn. Okay? This is what the basic turn looks like. As I use the man's footwork, I'm going to be swinging forward just like I did a minute ago. 1, 2, 3. And still trying to get the compression at the end of the step. Stepping with the next part. 4, 5, 6. As I move through there. Going backwards, again, if I'm doing the man's footwork, if I'm turning to the right, I'm going to try and keep my right foot forward. It doesn't have to stay right in front of me as I do it. I tend to let the footwork be a little bit looser as I go through. I'm still going to end up, because this is just a pivot turn, I'm going to end up with a pivot position, but I don't want you to think that you have to hold the legs really tightly in place as you go around. It'll give you a much stiffer look. If you allow the legs to swing a little bit and then hit their position as you turn, it can give you a softer look, which is very important in waltz. The lady's footwork on that, if she's doing the same kind of turn, going forward, she's swinging forward with the right foot, she's turning towards the right, and so predominantly her right foot is in front. But again, when I'm going forward as man or as lady, I'm going to allow the second step to swing forward first to give me more distance. So I'm not really turning on the 1 count in this case, as lady. I'm going to be turning on the 2, 3. But I'm still going to get the illusion of a pivot turn. So I'm going to be calling it a pivot turn, but I'm not doing it exactly like a pivot turn, because I want to create more distance down the floor and more softness as we go through. And you'll be seeing those in the patterns that we show a lot, so I wanted to bring that out first. Hi. Right now we're going to be showing you a piece of choreography, then we're going to break down the choreography, and then we're going to show it to you again. So this first piece of choreography is more on the intermediate side, and it's just to get you going in the beginning here. We're going to start off in a basic hold, and this is what the whole pattern looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Okay? The technique on that, on this step here, is the use of the turns that I showed you a minute ago. We're starting in a basic hold, and as the lady moves back on 1, I want to allow her to start turning. And so I'm going to start prepping her much the same as you would in a 2-step, bringing the hand across, allowing her to turn between the steps of 1 and 2, so that she's fully turned by the step of 3. What I'm doing is I'm taking her into a wrap position as I go. Some people call it a basket position, some people call it a wrap. We're going to be calling it a wrap position today. The next position I'm going to be taking the lady into as she turns, I'm going to call a reverse wrap. And I'm allowing the hands to come all the way over and holding on to both hands. The next position I'm going to go back to the wrap position. And that brings the lady back to this position here. And you can see as I did that, let me hand back up over. As I turned her inside and brought that around, I allowed the right hand to release. So she's turning inside, and I'm just allowing my right hand, I'm going to show you from the back now. Bring the hand back up. So as she turns here, I'm allowing my hand to brush along her arm so that you don't really see a disconnection of the hands. When we go back the other way, to give it a different look, I'm bringing both hands over the top of her head, going back into reverse wrap. She's turning this way. So that's something you might want to do first before you actually start the step moving, is get a feel for the positions and the handwork, because of course it's hard to think of both things at once. So you're starting from a dance position here. The lady's going back 1, 2, 3. If you watch Sarah's footwork at this point, she's going back, side, forward as she steps into that. The man's footwork at that point, you're stepping towards the lady on step 1. 1. You're still stepping towards her on 2. You're coming up beside her on 3. Ladies, you don't want to try and move too far because you need to allow the man to get up beside you. And this puts the lady into that wrap position. Now on the next part, the 4, 5, 6, you're just allowing your body to swing forward using some of the technique that I showed you when you were just moving across the floor. Because we're both stepping 4, 5, 6. The next part, she's going from the wrap position to the reverse wrap position. She's doing that using a basic pivot turn. And she's going 1, 2, 3 to get to the reverse wrap position. The man's footwork as you're doing that, he's just walking beside the lady. And guys, you need to make sure that as you're walking beside the lady, that you think about where she's at and you stay beside her. You don't want to move too far or too much. Don't make her stay with you. She's spinning. It's much harder to do the turn in that case, so think about where she's at. Try and keep the hand connection, of course, in that little C position there, and use just a little fingertip pressure. Now that we're in the reverse wrap position, and we're on the 4, 5, 6, the man is right foot free, ladies have her left foot free, and we're going back the other direction, 4, 5, 6, and that was the hand position I showed you a minute ago. Now you can keep repeating that around the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, as many times as you'd like. I'm only showing it one time right now so that we can get on with the next step. All right, the next part of that step that it leads into, we're going to be taking the lady back from wrap position to reverse wrap position and on into a man's fake and then some shadow turns. We're just going to demonstrate up to the man's fake and right after that right now. So we're ready for the 1 count, man's right foot, lady's left foot, and we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Let me show that from a different angle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay? Now, the most important part of that step is the man's fake. Being able to pull it off smoothly, to be able to still lead the lady, and to stay up beside her as you do it, because I'm only allowing you 2 steps in this. I don't really like to see men syncopate to get in there because it's not quite as smooth. So what the man is doing on those actions, because when you came out of the last step, you had your right foot forward because you're ready for the 1 count, and the lady's beside you here. The first thing that you're doing is you're turning the lady from wrap to reverse wrap, and you're just doing a 1, 2, 3. So you're doing 1, 2, 3. Now the next part of that, as you're moving forward, you're doing 4, and then what I like to do on the step of 5 is tap the foot here for 5, and then let it keep going for 6. When I allow that to happen, it helps me to think about doing something on the beat of 5, and then I'm always doing something that I'm leading the lady with. So as I'm stepping on the 4, 5, 6, I'm going 4, 5, 6. It's very smooth. It allows me to get some distance. Ladies, you have to be careful when the man is faking. He only gets 2 steps. If you move too far, he's not going to be able to stay with you very easily. All right? Ladies, you're still doing the same exact turn you did a minute ago, so that hasn't changed any. the top portion of the hands here has changed. So we went from a wrap position here. I'm bringing the lady to a reverse wrap, just like we did a minute ago. Now as I come back around, I'm switching hands right here at this point from bringing the lady's left hand into my right hand, the lady's right hand into my right hand. So we're ending up in a, some people call it a sweetheart position. That's what I like to call it. Here, and now we're ready for the shadow right turns like we'll get into next. So what that looks like again is from the wrap position, we went to reverse wrap. We go from the reverse wrap position. As she comes around, I'm switching hands. Then she's allowing me to pick up her left hand with my left hand as she comes around. All right? So what that looks like again is we're standing here ready for the one count, and we're doing wrap to reverse wrap, man fakes, and we're ready for the shadow position right turns. Okay, the next part of this are shadow right turns. I call it shadow right turns because we're basically just doing a kind of an open box step as you go through this, and I'll demonstrate it in its entirety in a second here, but this is what the step looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Okay? You can see I'm only doing one shadow right turn. You can do a series of them. You can do 2, you can do 4, you can do 6, and you can come out of it. The man faked to get into the shadow right turns. He's also faking to come out in this particular instance. The hands are coming over the head in a variety of different ways. When I'm doing this through here, we're on the lady's footwork right now, so we're starting the man's footwork with his right on 1. What's happening here is this hand, the right hand's behind the lady right now, so you don't have to worry about taking that over. But as I do the 1, 2, 3, I'm allowing the left hand to come over the top, the right hand starting to come down between us, the left hand comes down between us. As I pick up the right hand, you can see the lady's hands out to the side. As I start to come through here, I'm going to pick up the next hand, and if I were to keep on going for another series of turns, it would keep on going. Some people call this a windmill because of the effect of the arms as we go through. And again, we're just using that same position here. The lady's allowing me, because she's keeping her hands in front of her, a chance to pick up her hands. Now, when we come out of it and the man fakes his footwork, you're turning the lady a little bit further so that you come around into a promenade position, and you're ready to walk into promenade in that case. Okay? The man is faking as he goes through that. Now, the shadow right turn, the lady's doing a forward side back. As she moves forward, the man is doing a forward side back. And if we kept this in a straight line, we both want to stay in our lines respective to each other. The lady's staying towards the outside of the floor, I'm staying towards the inside of the floor as we move. So if we're doing the 1, 2, 3, we've only done a 180-degree turn, so we're now backing down the line to dance. And as we pick up the next 4, 5, 6, to get to here, we can leave the hand down, or it can start to come over. I like to leave it in front of me because then I can use it to lead her into her next action as we go through. The next action in that part was just the lady's turn while the man fakes. Okay, so let's do that part again. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Coming around into the promenade position. See, the lady's just doing a basic turn there at the end, so you both can walk into promenade. The man has done a fake step like he did to get into it. He's done that to get out of it. Okay? Now I want to show you how the man fakes his footwork to get back on to his normal footwork from the lady's footwork. As the lady is stepping on the 1, 2, 3 and doing her turn, the man wants to go 1 tap step, because he's on the lady's footwork. So what he's doing at this time is he's going 1 tap step. Now his right foot's free for the count of 4 to go into the next pattern. Now I'm going to go right through the man's fake there and on into the next part of the pattern, then I'll come back and explain parts of it. So we're ready for the 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? That pattern is passing twinkles. We're doing a twinkle action. That's what I like to call the pattern anyway. And we're passing each other. The first part of it, all those twinkles are the same. They're all passing twinkles, but I'm doing a little bit different action. I'm doing a man's waterfall with the arms in the first part. That makes it very difficult to do because when I'm passing the lady, she has to let me go by, and then I have to allow the lady to go by. So you really have to think of your alignment with your partner because you have very little contact with your partner. What's happening with the arm work is as I go by, I'm allowing my hand to drop over my head, and then as the lady goes by, I'm again allowing my hand to drop over my head. Now you have to realize when you're dancing with a hat on, it's not easy to get the hand over the head, and so you have to be really important to allow the hand to turn here and to get to fingertip contact and to keep that little C position. And then ladies, you need to reach over the man's head at this point. Guys, as you drop the hand onto your shoulder. The next hand's the same way. You can see my hand's going to rotate in hers. I'm going to catch her fingertips. And as she comes by me, the hand will drop over my head. And then you have to keep your feet going the whole time. That makes it real easy. So as we start that, we've both gotten on, the man has gotten back onto his footwork. We're ready for a 4, 5, 6. The man is passing the lady. The lady right now is basically just going forward, forward, forward. The man is going to go to do a turn as he comes across in front of the lady. If you'll notice where Sarah's second step goes, it's very important. She's trying to go forward, but also at the same time, she's stepping between my feet as I step across her path. She's at point A right now. She's going to end up at point B. I'm at point A, and I'm going to point B. And we both have to know where that is when we start, because I can't pull her at all as I go through this, or I'll knock my hat off, or we'll lose the connection of the hand. So as we're stepping for the 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, you can see Sarah's foot, it's not directly between mine, but it's starting to come between my legs. And she's close enough that the hand can come over my head. Now I'm taking a relatively short step on 6, and this is allowing Sarah to catch up beside me. Now as we go for the 1, 2, 3, we're taking the same size step basically on 1. Now as Sarah's coming around, I'm doing a very small step, and I'm stepping between her feet at this point. And that's allowing me to be very close to Sarah and for the hand to come over my head again here. And she takes a small step on 3, and I take a little bit bigger one, again, so I can start to pass her. What that looks like a little bit quicker, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now in the next part of this step, I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but instead of trying to reconnect this hand after I've turned, I'm going to take my left hand and just bring it behind Sarah's back as I bring my right hand over my head again. And we're on a 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. We're still doing the same thing again on the next 1, 2, 3 of a passing twinkle. 1, 2, 3. And that's put us into a dance position now. And I'm going to allow, at this point, my left hand just to connect with Sarah's into a regular dance position. I'm going to do one more passing twinkle, but instead of turning myself to promenade position on the 4, 5, 6, I'm going to stay backing down the line of dance. 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to set Sarah up to go into an outside partner position. What that means is as she steps into her next step, she can step outside of me on this 1 count. And we're going to set up for a turn, which is going to go into the next part of this amalgamation. And I call this is an open right turn again, but now we're in a closed dance position. As a minute ago we did an open right turn, but we were in a shadow dance position. Okay, so let me demonstrate what that whole step looks like again. We just finished the shadow right turns, and we're ready now for the man's fake to go into the passing twinkles. We're both on the ladies' footwork on the count of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the next part of this step, the lady's going to be doing an underarm turn to the right, and then we're going to do a patty cake type of turn, and I'll explain that more later. And this is what this looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Okay? So you can see that Sarah's doing a series of turns one direction, then the other direction. We're starting off with her doing 6 steps of turning, and then we're doing a patty cake action for the next 6 steps, and then we're finishing it off with 6 more steps of turn. When you go through when you watch her on the footwork, sometimes some people like to stay up the whole time. Some people like to do pivot turns the whole time as they do it, so they're getting an up-down action as they go through it. If you can, because these are simpler type of turns, try and keep a rise and fall action as you do it. Okay? As we start off, gentlemen, you're walking back, side, forward, 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 forward as you go through your footwork. So what it looks like is you're going back, side, forward, 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 forward. And you're leading the lady through the whole part of that. The next part of this is you want to pick up, you have the left hand hold, and you're going to turn her again through that. But let's still just concentrate on the feet as you go through. The next part of this, you're just doing 1, 2, 3, and then again 4, 5, 6. You can see basically I just went forward. You can move a little bit to one side of the lady or the other side of the lady as you're doing that, but it's not really important how much you turn or move. It's more you want to just stay in line with the lady as you go through. The last part of that, again, you're walking and you want to stay a little bit to the lady's left side as you do this, and you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see the man's footwork, and that's pretty easy. How you're leading the lady as you go through that is very important. So as you go through this now, the lady's part's very difficult. So gentlemen, as you go to turn the lady, be very aware of where she's at and how she's turning, and try and stay with her. Don't take off with the easy steps that you have and just run away from her. Now ladies, as you start turning, first thing you want to notice, she's stepping outside of me on the step of 1. She's starting to turn on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Now I'm going to take her back the other direction. 1, and I'm taking the left hand over her head. And the next part I'm going to take the right hand over her head. 4, 5, 6. And then I'm taking the left hand over her head again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As I do that. As I come around after the right turn, the right hand's going over her head. Then I'm doing a little stop action with the one hand, and the left hand's going over her head. Then the right hand's coming back. And it just gives a nice arm action. And all the lady's really doing is just pivoting one direction and the other. Ladies, you want to allow yourself to finish each turn. Use the man whatever amount you need on each part of that step. Okay? What that whole pattern, that last pattern that we did looks like as we go through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That finishes off the intermediate portion of what we're doing right now, and I'd like to demonstrate at this point the step in its entirety, the whole pattern. We'll be right back with that. So here's the step in its entirety. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. In just a minute, we'll be back with the advanced portion.